Well, it's been a little over 24 hours since the Scott Robertson bombshell dropped, and shockwaves continue to spread across New Zealand rugby and beyond. As debate rages over whether or not the sacking was appropriate, so too does discussion around who should get the call-up for the coveted role. All Black legend and Sky Sport presenter Jeff Wilson joined me earlier, and I started by asking him if he'd made sense of all of this just yet.
Well, I thought David Kirk, the chairman of New Zealand Rugby, did a really good job yesterday in his press conference, sort of explaining exactly the process they went through. And, you know, it was always going to be a difficult decision anytime you're looking at the employment of a person, of an individual, and particularly the All Black coach, and what the future might look like. And this was about their confidence about the team going forward. And if they were going to make a change, it had to be now. And all the evidence points to the fact that things weren't right inside this All Black camp. And they talked about trajectory a lot, about where this team was heading, and you get the sense this is in the best interest of the All Blacks going forward, and now it's into 2026 and a lot of challenges ahead.
Do you think this is a case of player power going too far, or is it just the reality of professional sport?
It's certainly not a position of players taking, I suppose, too much responsibility here. It's about accountability, and also I think the feedback clearly to Kevin Mialamu and David Kirk was the fact that there were serious issues inside the camp that needed to be addressed immediately, and how they were going to move forward. And so, you know, I think the players have been open and honest, but I do think that Kevin and David are astute individuals, and Don Trick has been involved as well. And you've got to trust their experience and understanding of the All Blacks and go, who do you believe in, and who do you believe in going forward can take the All Blacks to where they need to be, not just this year, but into the future. So, look, I don't think the players are responsible in any way, shape or form. I think there's accountability across the board, and there were changes that just needed to be made.
In your view, then, New Zealand Rugby has handled this about right?
I think so, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. The sense was they needed to do a review and to get a little bit of independence about that review, and they got that. I think they asked the right questions. They didn't quite get the right answers they were looking for. They weren't confident in the direction they were heading, so they needed to make that change, and they've acted swiftly. And I think there's been great leadership, something that this country has been looking for in the sporting department.
Looking forward then, you've played with both Tony Brown, who's currently the assistant coach of the Springboks, and the Highlanders coach, Jamie Joseph. Would they be your picks?
Absolutely. The fact that Jamie's been looking after the All Blacks 15, the fact he's been back in New Zealand Rugby, he's vastly experienced, and his relationship with Tony Brown, if they can manage to pry him away from South Africa, that won't be easy, because clearly the number one team in the world is enjoying great success right now. There are other people that I'd love to see involved, the likes of a Dave Rennie. I'd like conversations with Joe Schmidt as well. How
would the rest of World Rugby be viewing this, do you think? The All Blacks in panic, or the All Blacks taking the necessary action and watch out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think they would see New Zealand Rugby as being unsettled right now. The fact uncertain about the direction they are heading, but by the same token, there wasn't a consistency of performance over the last couple of years that I think World Rugby and other nations were concerned about. Yes, we're the number 2 team in the world, but it was a little bit unconvincing. I think what they'll see in a Jamie Joseph or a Dave Rennie or a Joe Schmidt is a different regime, and maybe a different style and a different level of experience leading the All Blacks, and that might concern them maybe a little bit more. But look, you have to feel in some ways, of course, for Scott Robertson, this isn't easy for any individual, and he's taken it graciously, and now it's time for somebody else to take this team forward.